Hey folks, Professor K here, and today we're going to be doing a quick tutorial on the Pathfinder. The Pathfinder in Illustrator allows you to modify shapes, combine them, and break them apart so that it's easier for you to work with shapes in Illustrator and so that you can do things like remove, say, the counter in an A or in your typography. Let's get started. All right, so here we have in Adobe Illustrator just a new blank document. And to demonstrate this, I'm going to use a rectangle right here. I'm just going to draw out a real simple rectangle. And then I'm going to draw out another rectangle, but this time I'm going to do so in a different color. So without having that selected, I am going to change this to pink. And then I'm going to draw a second square right on top. And our goal is going to be to get this piece in the middle to be a different color. We can do this using the Pathfinder tool. Select both of these by dragging and selecting around. And then under Window and Pathfinder, make sure the Pathfinder window is showing. You'll see a number of shape modes. Let's see how these interact with each other to combine or break apart these two squares. First is the Add mode, or Unite. Let's click that. Notice how both squares turn pink. If we use our direct selection tool, we can see that now each of these anchors stops and there's no difference between the two squares. Remember that before we used the Unite tool, when you clicked, each had its own anchor point and its own individual path. So what's happening here is the Pathfinder is saying, combine these two paths to create one new path with the pink. And if we were to change the color to blue, that would change the whole thing. You can no longer separate them. That's what Unite is about. Next is minus front. Minus front will subtract the item that's in front of the other item. So let's go ahead and click that. And you can see that the black shape remains and the pink one is now gone. Now a shape is showing up there. And you can see that each of those individual little paths is just as it was before. Next, let's take a look at the Intersect tool. The Intersect in Pathfinder will go and leave the piece in the middle there. So basically, if you notice the shape modes, you're seeing in these icons, the filled in stuff is what stays behind. The stuff in front goes away, or the stuff without a fill goes away. So this should leave the stuff in the middle. Let's try that. Cool, we've got a pink square in the middle. However, I want all of these at the same time. So here, this last one, you can see it takes out the square in the middle. But what I actually want is the pink square to remain, the black square to remain, and for this middle one to turn a different color. That's where the Pathfinders are going to help you out most. These are going to create different paths with all the objects and leave them there. So my favorite one to use is Divide. Divide looks like it hasn't done anything yet. However, if you use the direct selection tool and click, you can see that we still have all the points for everything. And then just selecting one of these, you can break it apart. And this is what makes Pathfinder really cool. So now you can independently change this, and let's make it green. Put these back together. These are all still together. If you wanted to ungroup them, you would do Shift-Command-G. Pathfinder does try and keep things grouped together just so that you don't have to think about it. So if you find them all moving together, Shift-Command-G to ungroup is what you'll need. So cool. That's just an overview of the Pathfinders. I would also recommend trying some of these other ones, which work a lot like the shape modes above, but leave all the paths intact. However, I find that Divide is probably the one that I use the most. So how could you use this practically? What's a practical application of this? Well, let's say that you were making an A. You were making your own custom typeface and you wanted to make a nice A character. Let's go ahead and create an A here. In optical typography, when we're optically designing things, we want just a little bit of extra underneath each of these and above each of these. And the reason why is because this curve gives the appearance that it's a little bit shorter because not all of the path is there. So if we just look at this and we just look at, like, we really go back and see, okay, does this look like it's lining up? Actually, when we go in to use this in typography, we actually want this to be just a little bit shorter and a little bit taller, or shorter there. All right, so we have a nice looking rough A shape. And right now these two are independent of each other. Let's use the Pathfinder to combine them. Simple as that, right? So now this is all one big A shape. And that was using the Unite tool. But now what I want is I want this middle part, and I'm just going to create a white circle here. I want there to be a middle part here that kind of makes this look more like an A. So let's zoom out here and there's our rulers. What's the shortcut for guides? Who knows? Guides, hide guides. Oh, it's Command and this one, semicolon, Command and semicolon. All right, so we can see it kind of going out far here. Let's give this a little bit more width to the side. And again, this is because of optical widths. Things on the sides are going to appear a little bit wider than things up at the top. So let's just give this, zoom out. Yeah, it's pretty good looking. Looks great, right? However, if we were to go and draw our blue background behind it, let's say we want a nice blue background, send it to the back. Oh no, what have we got here? We've got this white circle in the middle, and you could just like go changing that all day, but that's not great. Actually, let's zoom out and see if that still feels good. Yeah, that holds up. So there's a better way. You could use the Pathfinder to remove this shape from this shape. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to use the minus front here, and the minus front will allow us to have that whole A shape just by itself. You move it off, it's perfect, just like a real letter. Now let's say that, and I'm just gonna even go back and copy this just so I don't have to redo all that work, but let's back up a bit. Let's say that we are back over here. We haven't done our Pathfinder yet. We just have this shape, and now this shape over here. And let's see if we can even do like an edit, paste in place, Shift Command V. All right, so I've got individual shape, and individual shape. Is there a way that I can combine all these? Well, if you use add, it will get rid of everything. If you use subtract, you'll lose the side of the A. So in this case, what you might need to do is play with the Pathfinders down at the bottom. So here's divide. Divide will kind of create separate pieces for each of these, but I don't know if that's what I want really. Let's move these over so we can see a little bit better. Here's adding together, or trim. That's maybe promising, I'm not sure. Here's merge. Ooh, merge looks promising. See what it did? It added everything together, but it left this white in the middle. Let's see about this one. That's definitely not what we want. That's not what we want either. And that didn't do anything. All right, so by process of elimination, let's use the merge. That will make it so that we have one whole piece here, and you can just take that out and delete that. Easy peasy. So you can do it either way, either by combining your objects first and then subtracting them, so using unite and then minus front, or you can just use this merge option. The divide option works perfectly fine too. All of those are great ways to do this. But that will allow you to create your own letter forms and do a lot of great logo work that you probably couldn't do before. So with that, I hope that helps you out. I hope that helps you understand the Pathfinder tool just a little bit better. Give it a try, make your own A letter form, and see how it goes. I will see you later.